Money confidence does not begin when you have more money. It begins when you become the kind of person who can control money. Financial independence is not built on luck, shortcuts, hype, or temporary motivation. It is built on identity, discipline, decisions, and emotional control. If your emotions control your spending, your future will always feel unstable. If your habits control your income, your freedom will always be delayed. This audiobook is about becoming someone who does not panic, does not drift, does not spend to escape, and does not wait to be rescued. You are going to learn how to control your money, protect your income, strengthen your mind, and build a life that cannot be financially controlled. Chapter 1. Stop spending like you are still lost. Stop spending like you are still lost. That is the first truth you must face. Because uncontrolled spending is not always a money problem first. Many times, it is an identity problem. It is not about income, it is about control. It is not about what you earn, it is about who you become when money touches your hands. That is the key. If you get paid and immediately start looking for ways to escape your own life, your money is not serving your future. It is serving your weakness. If you spend to feel important, spend to feel included, spend to look successful, spend to numb stress, spend to avoid discipline, then you are not building financial confidence. You are building financial dependence. And you have a choice. You can keep using money as a temporary emotional drug, or you can start using money as a tool of freedom. You can keep feeding the version of you that panics, compares, avoids, and reacts. Or you can build the version of you that pauses, decides, saves, plans, and controls. Lost money follows a lost mind. Controlled money follows a controlled identity. Listen carefully. You cannot spend your way into confidence. You can buy the outfit. You can upgrade the phone. You can order the meal. You can take the trip. You can swipe the card. You can pretend for a weekend that everything is fine. But when Monday comes, the truth comes with it. The bank balance comes with it. The bill comes with it. The anxiety comes with it. And if the pattern has not changed, the person has not changed. This is where most people lose the fight. Not in one huge disaster. Not in one dramatic failure. They lose it in small moments. A small purchase here. A small excuse there. A subscription they forgot about. A delivery meal they did not need. A late fee they could have avoided. A cart full of things purchased because they were tired, bored, jealous, lonely, or stressed. And then they say, "I do not know where my money went." But the truth is, their money followed their mind. A scattered mind creates scattered spending. An emotional mind creates emotional spending. A lost mind creates lost money. That is the pattern. That is the warning. Lost money follows a lost mind. Controlled money follows a controlled identity. Think about the person who gets paid on Friday. The paycheck arrives, and for a few hours, they feel powerful. They feel relieved. They feel like they can breathe again. But instead of taking command, they start reacting. Bills are ignored because bills feel uncomfortable. Savings are delayed because saving feels restrictive. Debt is avoided because debt feels embarrassing. Then the weekend begins. Food delivery, random shopping, drinks, entertainment, small upgrades, little rewards, a purchase to feel better, a purchase to look better, a purchase to escape pressure. They tell themselves they deserve it. They tell themselves they work hard. They tell themselves they will start fresh next week. By Monday, the money is already damaged. Now the week begins with stress. Bills are still waiting. Savings are still empty. The future is still unprotected. And the same person who felt rich on Friday feels trapped by Monday. The problem is not only the paycheck. The problem is the pattern. Control the habit, control the future. You must understand this. Your spending is training you. Every purchase is not just a purchase. It is a vote. Every dollar is a decision. Every decision builds an identity. When you spend without thinking, you vote for chaos. When you buy what you cannot afford to impress people who are not responsible for your life, you vote for insecurity. When you choose comfort over control, you vote for dependence. When you avoid your bank account because the truth makes you uncomfortable, you vote for weakness. But when you pause, you vote for discipline. When you save first, you vote for freedom. When you pay what must be paid before buying what feels good, you vote for maturity. When you say no to the impulse, you vote for power. You have a choice. And that choice happens before the purchase. Not after. Not when the regret arrives. Not when the card statement arrives. Not when the account balance embarrasses you. The choice happens in the pause. Before you spend, pause. Ask yourself, does this decision support my freedom, or does it feed my weakness? That question can change your life. Not because it is complicated, because it is honest. Most people do not need more complicated financial advice. They need more honest moments. They need to stop lying to themselves in the checkout line. They need to stop calling impulse spending self-care. They need to stop calling avoidance peace. They need to stop calling financial weakness a personality trait. It is not about being perfect. It is about being awake. That is the key. You do not need their permission to become disciplined. You do not need your friends to understand why you are spending less. You do not need coworkers to approve of your budget. You do not need social media to clap when you choose stability. You do not need to explain every no. You do not need to apologize for protecting your future. Build before you show. Build before you impress. Build before you upgrade. Build before you reward yourself with things that keep you stuck. Build savings before you build an image. Build control before you build appearances. Build habits before you build lifestyle. Because if your lifestyle grows faster than your discipline, your stress will grow with it. That is why some people earn more and still feel broke. The income increases, but the identity does not change. The paycheck gets larger, but the habits stay weak. The job improves, but the spending expands. They get more money, but they do not get more control. More money in the hands of the same uncontrolled identity often creates a bigger version of the same problem. So do not wait for more money to become disciplined. Start with the money you have now. Start with the next purchase. Start with the next paycheck. Start with the next uncomfortable decision. You do not become financially confident by waiting. You become financially confident by acting like someone who can be trusted with money. Look at your habits. Do you spend when you are stressed? Do you buy things when you feel behind in life? Do you use money to prove you are doing better than you really are? Do you avoid opening bills because you do not want to feel discomfort? Do you say yes to things you cannot afford because you are afraid of looking boring, broke, or left out? Be honest. The truth will not destroy you. The truth will direct you. If you are spending to feel successful, stop. If you are spending to avoid sadness, stop. If you are spending because others are watching, stop. If you are spending because you are bored, stop. If you are spending because you have no plan, stop. Then start again with control. Create a rule. Before any unnecessary purchase, wait. 1 hour. 1 day. 1 week, depending on the amount. The waiting period is not punishment. It is protection. It gives your future self a voice. It separates desire from decision. It teaches your mind that impulse is not authority. Control the habit, control the future. Create another rule. Pay your future first. Even if the amount is small. Even if it feels unimpressive. Even if nobody sees it. especially because nobody sees it. Put something towards savings before the world gets access to your money. Put something toward stability before comfort gets a vote. Put something toward freedom before impulse starts negotiating. That is how identity changes. Not through speeches. Not through wishing. Not through fake motivation. Through repeated proof. Every time you pause, you prove you are not lost. Every time you save, you prove you are serious. Every time you say no, you prove you are free enough to choose your future over your feelings. Every time you face your numbers, you prove you are no longer hiding. And yes, it may feel uncomfortable at first. Choose freedom over comfort. Comfort says, buy it now. Freedom says, wait. Comfort says, you deserve this. Freedom says, you deserve stability. Comfort says, do not look at the account. Freedom says, face the truth. Comfort says, everyone else is doing it. Freedom says, their life is not your responsibility. You have a choice, and you must make that choice daily. Because financial independence is not built only in banks, investments, businesses, or paychecks. It is built in moments when nobody is watching. It is built when you decide not to spend because you are emotional. It is built when you choose preparation over performance. It is built when you stop trying to look confident and start becoming controlled. Money confidence is not loud. It does not need to prove itself every weekend. It does not need to impress every room. It does not need to chase every trend. Money confidence is calm. It is serious. It is quiet strength. It says, I know where my money is going. I know what I am building. I know what I will not sacrifice. That is the identity you are building. You are not just cutting expenses. You are cutting dependence. You are not just avoiding impulse purchases. You are training emotional control. You are not just saving money. You are saving your options, your dignity, your future, and your freedom. Lost money follows a lost mind. Controlled money follows a controlled identity. So from this point forward, stop treating spending like a harmless reaction. It is not harmless when it steals your peace. It is not harmless when it keeps you behind. It is not harmless when it trains you to need comfort every time life feels hard. Take control. Before you spend, pause. Before you upgrade, build. Before you impress, stabilize. Before you say yes, count the cost. Before you reward yourself, ask whether the reward is moving you forward or pulling you back. Every dollar is a decision. Every decision builds an identity. You have now learned that spending is not just about money. It is about identity, discipline, emotion, and control. But this is only the beginning. Because once you stop spending like you are lost, you must face the next truth. Chapter 2. Build wealth before you look wealthy. Build wealth before you look wealthy. That is the truth most people do not want to hear. Because looking successful is easy. Becoming stable is harder. Looking rich can be purchased. Real control must be built. Looking like you have money can happen in one afternoon. Becoming the kind of person who owns money, protects money, and directs money takes discipline over time. That is the key. You can buy the image before you build the foundation. But the image will not protect you. The image will not pay the bill. The image will not give you peace when income slows down. The image will not save you when an emergency arrives. The image will not make you free. Build before you show. Own before you impress. Too many people are trying to look like success before they have built stability. They are decorating a house with no foundation. They are showing confidence while living with financial fear. They are posting the reward before they have paid the price. And deep down they know it. They know the outfit is louder than the savings. They know the car is stronger than the emergency fund. They know the apartment is more impressive than the bank account. They know the lifestyle is moving faster than the discipline. And that creates pressure. Because when you live to look successful, you must keep paying to maintain the illusion. You cannot rest. You cannot be honest. You cannot slow down. You cannot say, I am building. You feel forced to keep performing. One upgrade requires another upgrade. One image creates another expectation. One expensive habit becomes a normal habit. And slowly, your life becomes a show that you are financing with your freedom. The goal is not applause. The goal is control. Remember that. The goal is not applause. The goal is control. You do not need their permission to build quietly. You do not need your friends to understand why you are not upgrading everything. You do not need strangers to know your progress. You do not need social media to validate your discipline. You do not need to look rich to become free. Real wealth is quiet at first. It is quiet because it is being protected. It is quiet because it is being organized. It is quiet because it is not yet for display. It is becoming savings. It is becoming reduced debt. It is becoming new skills. It is becoming a stronger income. It is becoming peace. It is becoming options. It is becoming ownership. Quiet discipline beats loud insecurity. Look at the worker who finally gets a raise. The first worker gets more money and immediately expands the lifestyle. A better car. A newer phone. Better clothes. A more expensive apartment. More nights out. More delivery food. More subscriptions. More payments. More pressure. The raise comes in, but the raise is already spent before it can build anything. The income increased, but the freedom did not. Now look at the second worker. The second worker gets the same raise. But they do not rush to upgrade. They keep the car. They keep the apartment. They keep the basic routine. They use the difference to build savings, reduce debt, learn valuable skills, and create breathing room. They do not look dramatically different from the outside. But inside their financial life, something serious is happening. They are becoming harder to control. 5 years later, the first worker may look more successful. But they feel trapped. They have payments everywhere. They cannot miss work. They cannot take a risk. They cannot breathe without the next paycheck. Their image is expensive, and their options are limited. 5 years later, the second worker may look ordinary. But they have options. They have savings. They have fewer obligations. They have a stronger mind because they practiced restraint. They have confidence because their life is not built on appearances. That is the difference. One person bought symbols. The other person built strength. Build before you show. Own before you impress. You have a choice. You can use extra money to prove something, or you can use extra money to build something. You can chase admiration, or you can build independence. You can impress people for a moment, or you can protect your life for years. And do not misunderstand this. This is not about hating nice things. It is not about living small forever. It is not about shame. It is not about pretending you do not want comfort. It is about order. It is about timing. It is about discipline. It is not about deprivation. It is about sequence. First you build. Then you enjoy. First you stabilize. Then you upgrade. First you own your habits. Then you expand your lifestyle. That is the key. The problem is not wanting better things. The problem is buying better things before becoming better with money. The problem is rewarding yourself before you have built the system that can support the reward. The problem is treating every increase in income as permission to increase spending. That is how people stay trapped. They call it success, but it is dependence. They call it lifestyle, but it is pressure. They call it confidence, but it is fear wearing expensive clothes. Quiet discipline beats loud insecurity. If you want money confidence, you must stop buying the symbols of success before you build the substance of success. A symbol of success is the thing people can see. The car, the watch, the phone, the clothes, the apartment, the vacation, the restaurant, the post, the image. The substance of success is what most people cannot see. The savings, the paid-off debt, the skill set, the emergency fund, the investment plan, the controlled expenses, the calm mind, the ability to say no, the ability to survive a difficult season without begging, borrowing, or panicking. Most people chase the symbol because the symbol gives immediate attention. But attention is not freedom. Attention is not stability. Attention is not ownership. The goal is not applause. The goal is control. So you must train yourself to respect what is invisible. Respect the money you do not spend. Respect the savings nobody claps for. Respect the discipline nobody sees. Respect the skill you practice after work. Respect the bill you paid on time. Respect the debt you reduced quietly. Respect the decision to keep driving the same car while your savings grow. Respect the choice to stay steady while everyone else performs. That is strength. And strength is not always glamorous. Sometimes strength looks boring. Sometimes strength looks ordinary. Sometimes strength looks like cooking at home. Sometimes strength looks like saying no to a trip. Sometimes strength looks like wearing what you already own. Sometimes strength looks like living below your income while your future grows in silence. Build before you show. Control the habit, control the future. If every dollar that enters your life immediately exits to protect your image, you are not building wealth. You are funding insecurity. You are training yourself to need outside approval. You are teaching your mind that progress only matters if other people can see it. Stop that. You do not need their permission. You do not need to prove that you are doing well. Prove it to your future. Prove it to your bank account. Prove it to your nervous system when you can handle an emergency without collapsing. Prove it to your discipline when you can receive more money and not immediately spend more money. Prove it to your life when you have choices because you did not sacrifice your foundation for attention. That is real confidence. Real confidence is not walking into a room hoping people notice what you bought. Real confidence is knowing you are not one missed paycheck away from panic. Real confidence is knowing you can make a clear decision because you have prepared. Real confidence is knowing your lifestyle does not own you. Choose freedom over comfort. Choose freedom over image. Choose freedom over applause. This requires daily practice. Not once. Not only when you are motivated. Daily. When you get paid, do not ask, "What can I buy now?" Ask, "What can I build now?" When you receive a raise, do not ask, "How can I upgrade my image?" Ask, "How can I increase my freedom?" When you feel tempted to impress someone, ask, "Will this decision make me more stable or more dependent?" When you compare yourself to someone online, ask, "Am I seeing their wealth, or am I seeing their spending?" That question matters, because many people are not showing you wealth. They are showing you consumption. They are showing you payments. They are showing you pressure. They are showing you the surface. And if you chase the surface, you will sacrifice the structure. Build the structure. Build the emergency fund. Build the habit of saving. Build the skill that increases your value. Build the plan that reduces chaos. Build the patience to let time work. Build the discipline to stay steady when your ego wants attention. It is not about looking behind. It is about moving ahead. It is not about being cheap. It is about being strategic. It is not about fear. It is about freedom. That is the key. You must learn to delay the visible reward until the invisible foundation is strong enough to carry it. You must learn to let people underestimate you while you build. You must learn to be comfortable with progress that nobody else can see. Because the strongest financial life is often built in silence before it is ever seen in public. The world will tempt you to display before you develop. It will tempt you to upgrade before you stabilize. It will tempt you to spend before you think. It will tempt you to measure your life by what others can see. Do not fall for it. Build before you show. Own before you impress. If you want to become financially independent, you must stop worshiping appearances. You must stop confusing lifestyle with freedom. You must stop allowing insecurity to write your budget. You must stop making purchases for people who will not help you when the pressure comes. Start building quietly. Start protecting your income. Start saving consistently. Start reducing dependence. Start learning skills that increase your earning power. Start creating a life where your decisions are not controlled by fear, bills, image, or approval. The person who needs to look wealthy too early often stays weak too long. But the person who can build in silence becomes dangerous in the best way. Calm, patient, focused, unmoved, not easily pressured, not easily bought, not easily controlled. That is who you are becoming. You have now learned that looking successful before becoming stable is one of the fastest ways to stay trapped, and that real confidence begins when you build before you show, own before you impress, and choose control over applause. But this is only the beginning. Because once you understand this, you must face the next truth. Chapter 3. Your money follows your mind. Your money follows your mind. That is the truth you must understand. A scattered mind creates scattered spending. A scattered mind creates scattered saving. A scattered mind creates scattered work, scattered effort, scattered plans, and scattered results. If your mind is chaotic, your money will become chaotic. If your mind avoids truth, your money will reflect avoidance. If your mind is emotional, impulsive, distracted, and undisciplined, your financial life will not feel stable, even if more money comes in. Your money follows your mind. A controlled mind creates controlled money. That is the key. Most people want to fix their money without fixing the way they think. They want a better budget, but they do not want a more disciplined mind. They want more income, but they do not want more clarity. They want less stress, but they keep making decisions from confusion, fear, boredom, pressure, and avoidance. It does not work that way. Money does not become organized in the hands of an unorganized mind. Money does not become peaceful in the hands of a panicked mind. Money does not become powerful in the hands of a mind that refuses to look at reality. What you refuse to face, you cannot control. Think about the person who refuses to check their bank account. They know the truth is waiting. They know the numbers may be uncomfortable. They know the balance may be lower than they want. They know bills may be coming. They know debt may be growing. So they avoid it. They tell themselves they will check later. They say they are too tired. They say they do not want to ruin their mood. They say they will deal with it when they get paid. But avoidance does not erase the truth. Avoidance only removes your ability to respond with strength. So now they move through the week guessing. Guessing what they can afford. Guessing what bills are due. Guessing how much they spent. Guessing how much is left. And because they do not know the truth, they make emotional decisions. They spend because they feel stressed. They order food because they feel tired. They buy something small because they want relief. They say yes because they do not want to feel left out. Then the account balance tells the story. The problem was not only the purchases. The problem was the mental state. No clarity. No review. No awareness. No command. Your money follows your mind. A controlled mind creates controlled money. You have a choice. You can keep hiding from the numbers and call it peace, or you can face the numbers and build real peace. You can keep avoiding discomfort and creating deeper stress, or you can accept short-term discomfort and create long-term control. You can keep letting fear run your financial life, or you can step in and lead. Look at the numbers. Face the truth. Take control. That sentence must become a rule. Look at the numbers. Face the truth. Take control. Because clarity is not punishment. Clarity is power. Checking your account is not shame. It is leadership. Tracking your spending is not restriction. It is awareness. Reviewing debt is not failure. It is responsibility. Knowing the truth is not the end of confidence. It is the beginning of confidence. You cannot control what you refuse to see. That is why financial confidence begins with attention. Not fantasy. Not emotion. Not pretending. Attention. You look at what is real. You name what is real. You deal with what is real. If you spent too much, you look. If debt increased, you look. If income is not enough, you look. If your habits are leaking money, you look. If your subscriptions are draining your account, you look. If your weekends are damaging your progress, you look. You do not look to attack yourself. You look to lead yourself. That is the difference. Shame says, I am bad with money, so I should avoid this. Discipline says, I need the truth so I can improve. Shame says, I do not want to know. Discipline says, I cannot fix what I do not measure. Shame hides. Discipline reviews. Shame panics. Discipline plans. It is not about shame. It is about awareness. It is not about fear. It is about control. It is not about perfection. It is about correction. That is the key. Start with the simple practice of a financial check-in. Not once a year. Not only when something goes wrong. Not only when the pressure becomes unbearable. Make it regular. Make it serious. Make it part of your identity. Open your account. Look at your balance. Look at what came in. Look at what went out. Look at what bills are due. Look at what debt remains. Look at what you saved. Look at what you wasted. Look at what needs to change. No drama. No excuses. No emotional collapse. Just truth. Look at the numbers. Face the truth. Take control. When you do this repeatedly, your mind changes. At first, the numbers may make you uncomfortable. That is normal. You are waking up a part of your life that you may have been avoiding for years. But discomfort is not danger. Discomfort is information. And when you stay with the truth long enough, the fear begins to lose power. You stop guessing. You stop drifting. You stop spending blindly. You stop making decisions from panic. You become calmer because you know where you stand. That is money confidence. Not because the numbers are perfect, but because you are no longer hiding from them. Control the habit, control the future. A controlled mind does not mean you never feel fear. It means fear does not make the decision. A controlled mind does not mean you never want to spend. It means impulse does not hold authority. A controlled mind does not mean you have every answer. It means you are willing to seek clarity before acting. This matters at work. It matters with income. It matters with ambition. A scattered mind does not just spend poorly. It works poorly. It jumps from idea to idea. It starts and stops. It says it wants more income, but it does not build one skill long enough to become valuable. It says it wants independence, but it wastes hours every night in distraction. It says it wants opportunity, but it cannot focus long enough to prepare for opportunity. Your money follows your mind. If your mind cannot focus, your income will suffer. If your mind cannot delay gratification, your savings will suffer. If your mind cannot handle discomfort, your growth will suffer. If your mind cannot face feedback, your skill building will suffer. If your mind cannot control emotion, your decisions will suffer. So this chapter is not only about bank accounts. It is about mental command. You must become the kind of person who can sit with reality and not run. You must become the kind of person who can see a low balance and not spiral. You must become the kind of person who can see a debt number and not pretend it does not exist. You must become the kind of person who can admit, "This is where I am, and now I will move differently." That is strength. You do not need their permission to become serious. You do not need anyone to understand your new habits. You do not need to explain why you are checking your expenses. You do not need to apologize for saying no. You do not need to feel embarrassed because you are learning. Every disciplined person had to begin with truth. Build before you show. Build awareness before you build lifestyle. Build clarity before you build confidence. Build mental control before you build financial expansion. Because if the mind is weak, more money only creates more chaos. But if the mind is controlled, even small money can be directed with power. That is why one person earns a decent income and still feels broke, while another earns less but becomes stable. One is reacting. The other is directing. One is guessing. The other is measuring. One is hiding. The other is leading. The difference is not only income. The difference is command. So here is what you must stop doing. Stop avoiding your bank account. Stop guessing what you spent. Stop pretending small purchases do not matter. Stop making financial decisions when you are emotional. Stop waiting until the damage is already done. Stop using shame as an excuse to stay blind. And here is what you must start doing. Start checking your numbers. Start tracking your spending. Start reviewing your debt. Start planning your bills before they attack your peace. Start naming your financial habits honestly. Start asking, what pattern created this result? Start asking, what decision must change? Then repeat it daily. Not perfectly. Consistently. Choose freedom over comfort. Comfort tells you not to look. Freedom tells you to face it. Comfort tells you to spend now and worry later. Freedom tells you to pause. Comfort tells you that ignorance feels better. Freedom tells you that clarity is power. Comfort protects your mood for 1 hour. Discipline protects your life for years. You have a choice. Every time you open the numbers, you are choosing leadership. Every time you track the pattern, you are choosing control. Every time you face reality without shame, you are choosing maturity. Every time you make a decision from clarity instead of emotion, you are becoming financially stronger. Your money follows your mind. A controlled mind creates controlled money. And this is where the emotional intensity must rise. Because you cannot keep asking for financial independence while refusing financial honesty. You cannot keep asking for peace while practicing avoidance. You cannot keep asking for wealth while letting fear control your eyes, your choices, and your habits. Freedom requires truth. Freedom requires discipline. Freedom requires mental control. Look at the numbers. Face the truth. Take control. Let that become your standard. Let that become your practice. Let that become the line between the old identity and the new one. The old identity hides. The new identity looks. The old identity reacts. The new identity reviews. The old identity spends from emotion. The new identity decides from clarity. That is how you change. Not all at once. Not through one dramatic promise. Through repeated awareness. Through serious correction. Through daily command. You are not here to be controlled by fear. You are not here to be controlled by bills. You are not here to be controlled by your own avoidance. You are here to become the kind of person who can look directly at reality and say, I can handle the truth, and I can change the pattern. That is money confidence. You have now learned that your money follows your mind, and that what you refuse to face, you cannot control. But this is only the beginning. Because once you understand this, you must face the next truth. Chapter 4. Discipline is the price of freedom. Discipline is the price of freedom. That is the truth. Freedom is not created by doing whatever you want today. Freedom is created by doing what protects tomorrow. Freedom is not built by obeying every craving, every impulse, every invitation, every mood, and every short-term desire. Freedom is built when you can tell yourself no, even when yes would feel easier. Discipline now. Freedom later. Control now. Options later. That is the key. Most people misunderstand freedom. They think freedom means spending whenever they want, eating out whenever they want, buying whatever they want, resting whenever they want, and saying yes to every comfort that appears in front of them. But that is not freedom. That is impulse with good marketing. That is comfort pretending to be choice. Real freedom is not needing to panic when life changes. Real freedom is having options because you prepared. Real freedom is being able to leave a toxic job because you saved money. Real freedom is being able to handle an emergency because you built a cushion. Real freedom is being able to say no because your life is not controlled by payments, pressure, and fear. Discipline now. Freedom later. Control now. Options later. You have a choice. You can obey comfort today and become controlled tomorrow. Or you can practice discipline today and create options tomorrow. You can let every desire become a decision, or you can decide that your future is more important than your mood. Choose freedom over comfort. Think about the person who says they want to save money. They mean it. They want stability. They want less stress. They want to feel in control. They want to stop living paycheck to paycheck. They want to build something real. But then the week begins. A friend invites them to dinner. They say yes. A coworker suggests drinks. They say yes. A subscription renews. They ignore it. They feel tired and order food. They feel bored and shop online. They see a sale and convince themselves they are saving money by spending money. They want to avoid feeling left out, so they keep paying to participate in a lifestyle that is not protecting them. By the end of the month, they are confused. They say, I do not know why I cannot save. But the reason is clear. Every yes has a cost. Every no has a reward. Every yes to impulse is a no to stability. Every yes to comfort is a no to the emergency fund. Every yes to looking included is a no to building independence. Every yes to short-term pleasure is a no to long-term control. And every no has a reward. No to unnecessary spending means yes to future peace. No to emotional shopping means yes to self-respect. No to another subscription means yes to fewer leaks. No to another weekend of careless spending means yes to a stronger Monday. No to comfort today means yes to options tomorrow. Every yes has a cost. Every no has a reward. This is not punishment. This is strategy. Discipline is not restriction when it leads to independence. Discipline is not a prison when it protects your future. Discipline is not losing life. Discipline is learning how to stop selling your future for temporary relief. That is the key. It is not about being boring. It is about being free. It is not about hating pleasure. It is about controlling timing. It is not about never enjoying life. It is about not letting enjoyment destroy your foundation. It is not about living in fear. It is about living with command. Control the habit, control the future. The person who cannot delay gratification is easy to control. Understand that. If you must have comfort immediately, the world can sell you anything. If you must look successful immediately, the world can trap you in payments. If you must escape discomfort immediately, the world can keep you dependent. If you must say yes because you fear judgment, people can pull your money, time, and energy in every direction. The disciplined person cannot be easily owned, because the disciplined person can wait. The disciplined person can walk away. The disciplined person can say no without collapsing. The disciplined person can feel desire and still choose the plan. The disciplined person can feel pressure and still protect the future. The disciplined person can feel discomfort and still remain steady. That is power. Not loud power. Not fake power. Not performance power. Real power. The kind of power that says, I am not controlled by every invitation. The kind of power that says, I am not controlled by every sale. The kind of power that says, I am not controlled by every craving. The kind of power that says, I am not controlled by what other people think. You do not need their permission. You do not need permission to save your money. You do not need permission to stop wasting weekends. You do not need permission to skip a purchase. You do not need permission to live below your income. You do not need permission to protect your future from people who are not thinking about your future. Build before you show. Build the emergency fund before you build the image. Build the skill before you demand the reward. Build the discipline before you expand the lifestyle. Build the savings before you buy the symbol. Build the foundation before you decorate the surface. Because if you do not build first, comfort becomes expensive. Image becomes expensive. Approval becomes expensive. And eventually, your own habits become the thing that keeps you trapped. You must start looking at sacrifice differently. Sacrifice is not always loss. Sometimes sacrifice is protection. Sometimes sacrifice is leverage. Sometimes sacrifice is the price you pay now so you do not pay a heavier price later. When you give up an unnecessary purchase, you are not just losing a product. You are gaining control. When you skip a night out that does not fit your budget, you are not losing your life. You are proving that your life is bigger than one night. When you stay home to study, improve your skills, organize your money, or rest with intention, you are not missing out. You are building. Discipline now. Freedom later. Control now. Options later. This is how long-term independence is created. Not through one emotional decision. Not through one perfect month. Not through one dramatic sacrifice that you post about and then abandon. It is created through repeated decisions. Quiet decisions. Boring decisions. Serious decisions. Decisions that may not impress anyone today but will protect you tomorrow. That is how confidence grows. Confidence grows when you keep promises to yourself. Every time you make a plan and follow it, confidence grows. Every time you say no to impulse, confidence grows. Every time you choose the future over the feeling, confidence grows. Every time you prove that your word is stronger than your craving, confidence grows. And when confidence grows, dependence shrinks. You stop needing every purchase to make you feel better. You stop needing every invitation to feel included. You stop needing every upgrade to feel valuable. You stop needing every comfort to survive discomfort. You become stronger because you are no longer negotiating with weakness all day. Choose freedom over comfort. This does not mean you never enjoy money. It means you put enjoyment in its proper place. You plan it. You control it. You earn it. You make sure it does not sabotage the foundation. You do not let one dinner become a damaged week. You do not let one weekend become a ruined month. You do not let one impulse become another payment. You do not let one comfort become a habit that steals your future. That is financial maturity. Financial maturity is being able to say, not now. Not never. Not because you are afraid. Not because you are powerless. Not because you are ashamed. Not now, because the order matters. Not now, because the foundation matters. Not now, because freedom matters. Every yes has a cost. Every no has a reward. So here is the instruction. Before you say yes, count the cost. Count the real cost. Not just the price on the receipt. Count the stress. Count the lost savings. Count the delayed debt payment. Count the hours you had to work for it. Count the future option you gave up. Count the mental pressure it may create later. Then decide. Not from emotion. From control. Ask yourself, does this yes support my freedom, or does it feed my weakness? If it feeds weakness, say no. Say no calmly. Say no without explaining too much. Say no without shame. Say no like a person who respects their future. Say no like a person who understands that every dollar, every hour, every habit, and every decision is building something. You have a choice. And the choice is not only between spending and saving. It is between being controlled and becoming free. It is between comfort now and options later. It is between short-term approval and long-term independence. It is between the old identity and the new one. The old identity says yes because it is afraid to disappoint people. The new identity says no because it refuses to disappoint the future. The old identity spends to escape discomfort. The new identity sits with discomfort and builds strength. The old identity wants freedom without sacrifice. The new identity understands that sacrifice is strategy. That is the transformation. The disciplined person cannot be easily owned. That sentence matters. Repeat it in your mind when you want to spend out of pressure. Repeat it when someone questions your budget. Repeat it when comfort tries to negotiate. Repeat it when you are tired and tempted to abandon the plan. Repeat it when you feel behind and want to buy something just to feel better. The disciplined person cannot be easily owned, because discipline creates distance between you and desperation. Discipline creates space between you and panic. Discipline creates protection between you and manipulation. Discipline creates the ability to choose with a clear mind. And that is what this audiobook is building inside you. Not just better money habits. A stronger identity. You are becoming someone who does not drift. Someone who does not fold under every craving. Someone who does not let the crowd decide their budget. Someone who does not let comfort destroy their future. Someone who can control money because they are learning to control themselves. Discipline now. Freedom later. Control now. Options later. You have now learned that discipline is not restriction when it leads to independence, and that every no to weakness can become a yes to freedom. But this is only the beginning. Because once you understand this, you must face the next truth. Chapter 5. Protect your income like your future depends on it. Protect your income like your future depends on it. Because it does. Income is not just money coming in. Income is the engine of independence. It is the fuel that gives you options. It is the tool that allows you to save, pay debt, build stability, learn, invest, and move with confidence. If you treat your income casually, you treat your future casually. If you treat your work casually, you treat your freedom casually. Protect the income. Strengthen the skill. Build the future. That is the key. Too many people want financial independence while disrespecting the very engine that funds it. They complain about money, but they show up late. They want more pay, but they avoid learning. They want opportunity, but they move with low standards. They want a better life, but they bring weak energy to the place where value is created. That has to stop. It is not about worshiping a job. It is about respecting the role income plays in your freedom. It is not about letting work own you. It is about becoming valuable enough that work no longer controls you. It is not about chasing every dollar in desperation. It is about becoming the kind of person who can create, protect, and increase income with discipline. Do not just chase money. Become more valuable. Because money follows value. A person who is useful has more options. A person who is dependable has more trust. A person who solves problems has more leverage. A person who communicates clearly, learns quickly, shows up consistently, and takes ownership becomes harder to ignore. Your value creates your leverage. Understand that. If you want stronger income, you must become stronger in the marketplace. If you want more choices, you must increase your usefulness. If you want to stop feeling replaceable, you must stop behaving like someone who can be replaced without consequence. Look at two people in the same workplace. The first person treats work like an inconvenience. They arrive late. They complain often. They do the minimum. They avoid responsibility. They resist feedback. They wait to be told everything. They bring problems without solutions. They watch the clock more than they watch their standards. Then they wonder why they stay stuck. They may be talented, but talent without seriousness becomes wasted potential. Now look at the second person. The second person is not perfect, but they are serious. They arrive prepared. They learn the system. They ask better questions. They improve the process. They communicate early. They keep commitments. They accept feedback without collapsing. They become the person others can trust when the work matters. Over time, the second person earns more choices. Maybe they get promoted. Maybe they qualify for better roles. Maybe they build skills that can transfer to another company. Maybe they create a side income because they developed discipline and competence. Maybe they gain enough confidence to negotiate, apply elsewhere, or build something of their own. The difference is not luck. The difference is value. Your value creates your leverage. You have a choice. You can keep treating income like something that just happens to you, or you can start treating income like a system you are responsible for improving. You can keep complaining about what you are paid, or you can ask what skill, habit, result, or relationship must improve to increase your earning power. You can keep doing the minimum and hoping for more, or you can become the kind of person who gives the market a reason to take you seriously. That is not fake motivation. That is reality. You do not need their permission to raise your standards. You do not need your coworkers to care before you care. You do not need your environment to be perfect before you become serious. You do not need applause to become more valuable. Protect the income. Strengthen the skill. Build the future. If your income is the engine, then your habits are the maintenance. Weak habits damage the engine. Strong habits protect it. Showing up on time matters. Being prepared matters. Learning matters. Communication matters. Finishing what you start matters. Managing your attitude matters. Managing your energy matters. Managing your money after you earn it matters. Because income without discipline becomes leakage. Income without control becomes stress. Income without skill growth becomes fragile. Income without direction becomes just another paycheck that disappears. Control the habit, control the future. You must stop thinking of income as only a number. Income is not just the amount deposited into your account. Income is connected to your character, your skill, your reputation, your consistency, your network, your ability to solve problems, and your willingness to grow. That is why two people can earn the same amount today, but 5 years later live completely different lives. One person protects the income and improves the system. The other person spends the income and weakens the system. One person builds skill. The other person builds excuses. One person becomes more valuable. The other person becomes more dependent. Do not just chase money. Become more valuable. If you are employed, protect your income by becoming excellent where you are. Not because you plan to stay forever. Not because the company owns you. Not because your job is your identity. But because discipline practiced anywhere strengthens you everywhere. A lazy worker becomes a lazy builder. A careless employee becomes a careless entrepreneur. A person who avoids responsibility at work will avoid responsibility in business, money, health, and relationships. The pattern follows you. So build the standard now. If you are at work, work with seriousness. Learn the tools. Learn the customers. Learn the numbers. Learn the problems. Learn the language of the business. Learn what creates value. Learn what wastes time. Learn what makes you useful. And then improve. That is the key. If you are self-employed, the same rule applies even harder. No supervisor is coming to save you. No manager is watching your schedule. No guaranteed paycheck is waiting if you drift. You must protect your income with structure. You must show up when no one forces you. You must build trust with clients, customers, partners, and your own calendar. Freedom without discipline becomes chaos. Choose freedom over comfort. Comfort says, do the minimum. Freedom says, build the skill. Comfort says, complain. Freedom says, improve. Comfort says, wait for someone to notice. Freedom says, become impossible to ignore. Comfort says, this is not my problem. Freedom says, ownership creates leverage. Your value creates your leverage. This does not mean you accept disrespect. It does not mean you stay in a dead-end situation forever. It does not mean you allow anyone to underpay, exploit, or abuse you. It means you do not confuse resentment with strategy. If you want better options, prepare for better options. Build the skills. Update the resume. Improve your communication. Study the market. Save money so you are not negotiating from desperation. Apply with seriousness. Speak with confidence. Move with a plan. Do not just quit emotionally while still depending financially. That is a trap. If your current income supports your life, protect it while you prepare for something better. Do not sabotage the bridge before you have built the next one. Do not let frustration destroy discipline. Do not let pride make you careless. Do not let boredom make you weak. Build before you show. Build the savings before you make the leap. Build the skill before you demand the opportunity. Build the reputation before you ask for trust. Build the proof before you expect reward. Build the future before you make dramatic moves for attention. That is financial maturity. You must also protect your income after you receive it. Because earning is only half the fight. If you increase your income but increase your waste at the same speed, you have not gained freedom. You have only upgraded the cage. A raise should not automatically become a new payment. A bonus should not automatically become a shopping spree. Extra income should not automatically become extra comfort. Use new income to strengthen the foundation. Use it to save. Use it to reduce debt. Use it to learn. Use it to build options. Protect the income. Strengthen the skill. Build the future. This is where many people fail. They want more income because they believe more income will save them from weak habits. But weak habits follow higher income. If you cannot control a small paycheck, you will struggle to control a larger one. If you spend from emotion at one level, you will spend from emotion at the next level. If you do not have a plan when you earn less, you may still not have a plan when you earn more. More money is powerful only when it meets more discipline. That is the key. So start today. Look at your income as an engine. Ask yourself, what protects this engine? Then answer honestly. Better sleep may protect it. Better punctuality may protect it. Better focus may protect it. Better skills may protect it. Better relationships may protect it. Better emotional control may protect it. Better spending habits may protect it. Then ask, what weakens this engine? Being late. Being careless. Being distracted. Being resentful without taking action. Refusing feedback. Avoiding learning. Spending everything you earn. Staying replaceable. Waiting for rescue. Making excuses instead of making progress. You have a choice. You can weaken the engine or strengthen it. You can waste the paycheck or direct it. You can complain about income or improve your value. You can stay dependent or become harder to control. The person who protects income protects their future. The person who strengthens skill strengthens freedom. The person who becomes valuable becomes harder to ignore. The person who controls the money after earning it becomes harder to trap. Do not just chase money. Become more valuable. Let that become your standard. Every day, improve something. Improve how you work. Improve how you communicate. Improve how you learn. Improve how you manage time. Improve how you manage money. Improve how you handle pressure. Improve how you solve problems. Small improvements compound into real leverage. And when your value grows, your confidence grows. Not loud confidence. Not fake confidence. Real confidence. The confidence that says, I can create value. I can protect income. I can build stability. I can move with discipline. I am not waiting for someone to rescue me. That is money confidence. You are not just earning. You are building. You are not just working. You are strengthening your future. You are not just collecting a paycheck. You are learning how to create leverage, protect options, and move toward independence. Protect the income. Strengthen the skill. Build the future. You have now learned that income is not just money coming in, it is the engine of independence, and your value creates your leverage. But this is only the beginning. Because once you understand this, you must face the next truth. Chapter 6. Kill the habits that keep you dependent. Kill the habits that keep you dependent. That is the truth of this chapter. Financial weakness is not always created by one dramatic mistake. It is often built in ordinary moments. Quiet moments. Repeated moments. The small decisions you excuse because they do not seem serious. The small leaks you ignore because they do not feel dangerous. The small habits you defend because they bring temporary comfort. But the leak is small until the future is empty. That is the key. Most people do not lose control all at once. They lose control gradually. A little impulse spending. A little procrastination. A little comparison. A little laziness. A little excuse. A little emotional comfort-seeking. A little avoidance. A little wasted time. A little refusal to plan. Then one day they look up and wonder why they are still dependent, still stressed, still behind, still waiting for life to change. But life did not betray them. The pattern trained them. Small habits become large consequences. You have a choice. You can keep defending the habits that keep you weak, or you can confront them. You can keep calling them normal, or you can call them what they are. Leaks. Drains. Traps. Quiet thieves of your future. You can keep waiting for a major breakthrough, or you can start closing the small openings where your money, focus, energy, and discipline keep escaping. Control the habit, control the future. Look at the daily leaks. The daily coffee you do not think about. The delivery meals you order because cooking feels inconvenient. The unused subscriptions you forgot to cancel. The late fees you pay because you avoided the bill. The random shopping when you feel bored. The small online purchases that feel harmless. The extra rides because you did not plan. The wasted evenings that could have been used to rest properly, learn a skill, prepare meals, review money, or improve your income. One purchase may not destroy you. One lazy evening may not destroy you. One late fee may not destroy you. But repeated long enough, the pattern becomes expensive. The danger is not one purchase. The danger is the repeated pattern. The danger is not one missed opportunity. The danger is the identity that keeps missing them. The danger is not one wasted hour. The danger is the habit of wasting the hours that could have changed your life. The leak is small until the future is empty. You must stop underestimating repetition. Repetition builds your life. Repetition builds your bank account. Repetition builds your debt. Repetition builds your confidence. Repetition builds your weakness. Repetition builds your freedom. Whatever you repeat, you reinforce. If you repeat impulse spending, you reinforce dependence. If you repeat avoidance, you reinforce anxiety. If you repeat procrastination, you reinforce pressure. If you repeat comparison, you reinforce insecurity. If you repeat excuses, you reinforce helplessness. But if you repeat review, you reinforce clarity. If you repeat planning, you reinforce control. If you repeat saving, you reinforce protection. If you repeat learning, you reinforce value. If you repeat intentional work, you reinforce independence. Cut the leak. Control the pattern. Reclaim the future. That is the instruction. Do not only attack the symptom. Attack the pattern. A symptom is being broke before payday. The pattern may be spending without tracking. A symptom is stress when bills arrive. The pattern may be avoiding the calendar. A symptom is no savings. The pattern may be saying yes to comfort every time discipline is required. A symptom is low income. The pattern may be refusing to learn, refusing feedback, and wasting time after work. You cannot fix a repeated problem with a one-time promise. You need a new pattern. That is the key. If delivery meals are draining your money, do not just feel guilty after ordering. Build a cooking pattern. Keep simple food ready. Plan 2 or 3 basic meals. Make convenience work for your future, not against it. If random shopping is draining your account, do not just delete one cart. Build a pause pattern. Wait before buying. Remove saved payment methods. Make purchases slower. Make impulse harder. Make discipline easier. If subscriptions are draining your money, do not just complain about prices. Review them. Cancel what you do not use. Keep only what supports your life, your work, your learning, or real rest. Stop paying for forgotten comfort. If late fees are stealing from you, do not just promise to remember. Build a calendar pattern. Set reminders. Automate what is safe to automate. Check due dates weekly. Pay attention before the penalty arrives. If wasted time is weakening your income, do not just say you need motivation. Build a work pattern. Study for 30 minutes. Practice one skill. Apply to one better opportunity. Improve one part of your resume. Read. Train. Prepare. Repeat. Do not wait to feel ready. You do not need their permission. You do not need perfect energy. You do not need a perfect schedule. You do not need everyone around you to become disciplined first. You do not need to explain why you are changing. You need to take command of the ordinary moments that are shaping your future. Choose freedom over comfort. Comfort says, it is only a small purchase. Freedom says, small habits become large consequences. Comfort says, you can start next month. Freedom says, the pattern changes today. Comfort says, you deserve to relax. Freedom says, rest with intention, do not escape with weakness. Comfort says, everybody spends like this. Freedom says, everybody does not have to live your future. You have a choice. And you must stop confusing comfort with care. Some habits feel like self-care, but they are really self-sabotage. Spending money you do not have to calm emotions you have not managed is not care. Avoiding your bank account to protect your mood is not care. Sleeping through your responsibilities because you feel overwhelmed is not care. Buying things to feel confident while your savings remain empty is not care. It is not about comfort. It is about control. It is not about one mistake. It is about the pattern. It is not about shame. It is about responsibility. That is the key. You are not here to hate yourself for past habits. Shame wastes energy. Shame keeps people stuck. Shame says, I failed, so I might as well continue. Discipline says, I see the pattern, and I will correct it. Discipline does not need drama. Discipline needs repetition. Cut the leak. Control the pattern. Reclaim the future. Start with a habit audit. Look at where your money goes. Look at where your time goes. Look at where your attention goes. Look at what you do when you are stressed. Look at what you do when you are bored. Look at what you do after work. Look at what you do after payday. Look at what you do when nobody is watching. That is where the truth lives. Not in what you say you want. In what you repeat. If you say you want savings but repeat impulse spending, the habit is speaking louder than the goal. If you say you want more income but repeat low effort, the habit is speaking louder than the ambition. If you say you want independence but repeat avoidance, the habit is speaking louder than the dream. Control the habit, control the future. Then replace. Do not only remove. A weak habit leaves a space behind. If you do not fill that space with a stronger pattern, the old pattern will return. Replace emotional spending with a pause and a walk. Replace delivery meals with planned simple food. Replace doom scrolling with skill building. Replace complaining with reviewing. Replace guessing with tracking. Replace excuses with one action. One action matters. One bill reviewed. One subscription canceled. One meal prepared. 1 hour protected. 1 skill practiced. 1 purchase delayed. $1 saved. 1 excuse rejected. Small habits become large consequences. That works both ways. Small weak habits become large dependence. Small disciplined habits become large freedom. Small leaks empty the future. Small controls build the future. Small choices repeated daily become the identity that either traps you or frees you. Build before you show. Build the habits before you expect the results. Build the routine before you demand confidence. Build the discipline before you chase the image. Build the foundation before you upgrade the lifestyle. Build the person who can handle money before you ask for more money. Because more income will not save a leaking life. More money poured into weak habits still disappears. More opportunity given to a scattered person still gets wasted. More time given to an undisciplined mind still gets consumed by distraction. That is why you must attack the pattern. The leak is small until the future is empty. Do not let that become your story. Do not let daily coffee, delivery meals, random purchases, unused subscriptions, late fees, wasted hours, emotional excuses, and weak routines quietly decide your future. Do not let small habits vote against your freedom while your mouth says you want independence. Do not let comfort make you dependent. The disciplined person closes the leaks. The disciplined person reviews. The disciplined person plans. The disciplined person cooks when possible. The disciplined person learns. The disciplined person saves. The disciplined person works with intention. The disciplined person does not pretend small things do not matter. Because small things repeated are not small. That is the warning. That is the opportunity. You are not powerless. You are patterned. And if you are patterned, you can be repatterned. You can change the routine. You can change the response. You can change the decision before it becomes a result. You can stop feeding the habits that keep you dependent and start feeding the habits that make you free. Cut the leak. Control the pattern. Reclaim the future. This is how money confidence grows. Not by pretending the leaks are not there. Not by waiting for a perfect income. Not by hoping for a clean start someday. It grows when you become serious about ordinary moments. It grows when you understand that every daily habit is either building control or building dependence. You have now learned that financial weakness is often built in ordinary moments, and that small habits become large consequences when you refuse to correct the pattern. But this is only the beginning. Because once you understand this, you must face the next truth. Chapter 7. Save like someone who refuses to be trapped. Save like someone who refuses to be trapped. That is the truth of this chapter. Saving is not boring. Saving is not weakness. Saving is not something you do only when money is left over. Saving is self-respect in financial form. It is protection. It is dignity. It is breathing room. It is the space between you and panic. It is the space between you and desperation. It is the space between you and decisions made from fear. Savings are not extra. Savings are protection. That is the key. Too many people treat saving like an optional habit. They say, "I will save when I make more." They say, "I will save after this month." They say, "I will save when life gets easier." But life does not become easier for people who are unprepared. Life becomes heavier. More bills arrive. More pressure comes. More responsibilities appear. More temptations compete for your money. If you do not save on purpose, your future remains exposed. You have a choice. You can spend everything and hope life stays gentle, or you can save consistently and prepare for reality. You can live like nothing will ever go wrong, or you can become the person who is ready when something does. You can choose comfort now, or you can choose protection later. Choose freedom over comfort. Savings are not extra. Savings are protection. Think about two people who lose a job unexpectedly. The first person has no savings. They worked. They earned. They spent. They meant to save, but they delayed it. Every paycheck disappeared into bills, food, impulse purchases, subscriptions, weekends, and small comforts that felt harmless at the time. Then the job ends. Now everything feels urgent. Rent is urgent. Food is urgent. Debt is urgent. The phone bill is urgent. The car payment is urgent. The next decision is urgent. There is no room to think. No space to breathe. No time to choose carefully. So they accept the first option, even if it is bad. They take work that damages their health. They borrow from people who make them feel small. They use debt to survive. They panic because they were not protected. Now look at the second person. The second person also loses a job. The crisis is still serious. It still hurts. It still creates pressure. But this person has savings. Not endless money. Not luxury. Not perfection. Just a cushion. Enough to breathe. Enough to think. Enough to review options. Enough to avoid begging. Enough to avoid accepting the first desperate path. The same crisis creates different outcomes. Why? Because preparation creates peace. That is the key. Preparation creates peace. Savings do not remove every problem. Do not misunderstand this. Savings are not magic. Savings do not make life painless. Savings do not make you invincible. But savings give you the one thing panic destroys first. Time. Time to think. Time to respond. time to make a plan, time to negotiate, time to recover, time to decide with a clear mind. That is why savings matter. Savings protect your mind. When you have nothing saved, every problem becomes emotional. Every bill feels like a threat. Every delay becomes fear. Every unexpected cost becomes a crisis. Your nervous system stays under attack because there is no buffer between you and pressure. Savings protect your options. When you have something saved, you can say no more often. You can leave dangerous situations more carefully. You can avoid bad debt. You can handle emergencies without destroying your future. Savings protect your dignity. Because when you are prepared, you are less likely to beg, panic, or accept terms that disrespect your life. The disciplined person cannot be easily owned. Savings are not extra. Savings are protection. You must stop treating saving as whatever remains after spending. That is why so many people never save. They wait until everyone else has taken from the paycheck. Rent takes its part. Bills take their part. Food takes its part. Subscriptions take their part. Impulses take their part. Friends take their part. Comfort takes its part. Then, at the end, if anything is left, they say they will save. But nothing is left because there was no command. You must save first. Not because the amount is always large. Because the identity is large. Saving first tells your mind, my future has priority. Saving first tells your habits, impulse does not get first access. Saving first tells your money, you have a purpose before you have a temptation. Save first. Save steadily. Save like freedom matters. That does not mean you ignore bills. That does not mean you avoid responsibilities. That does not mean you pretend math does not exist. It means you build saving into the system, not into your mood. You decide in advance. You set the amount. You make it automatic if possible. You make it simple. You make it repeatable. Consistency beats drama. Do not wait until you can save a perfect amount. Perfection keeps people stuck. They say, it is only $10, so why bother? They say, it is only $20, so it will not change anything. They say, I need to save hundreds, or it does not count. Wrong. Small amounts saved consistently build more than money. They build identity. They build trust. They build discipline. They build proof that you are no longer abandoning your future. Control the habit, control the future. If you save a small amount every payday, you are training your mind to protect the future. If you increase it slowly when income improves, you are training your life to grow with discipline. If you refuse to touch savings for emotional spending, you are training your impulses to respect your plan. That is transformation. It is not about the first amount. It is about the repeated standard. Save first. Save steadily. Save like freedom matters. You do not need their permission to save. You do not need your friends to agree. You do not need people around you to understand why you are not spending the same way. You do not need to explain why you are saying no. You do not need to feel embarrassed because your savings goal is small. You do not need to compare your beginning to someone else's progress. This is your protection. This is your future. This is your discipline. Build before you show. Build the savings before you upgrade the image. Build the cushion before you increase the lifestyle. Build the emergency fund before you chase applause. Build the habit of saving before you chase complex strategies. Because without basic protection, everything else becomes fragile. A person with no savings is easy to pressure, easy to scare, easy to rush, easy to manipulate, easy to trap. One emergency can push them into debt. One job loss can push them into panic. One car repair can damage the whole month. One medical bill can turn into a crisis. One delayed paycheck can create chaos. That is not freedom. And you are here for freedom. Savings are not extra. Savings are protection. So here is what you must stop doing. Stop saving only when you feel motivated. Stop saving only when money is left over. Stop using savings as a backup shopping account. Stop telling yourself small savings do not matter. Stop confusing temporary comfort with financial care. Stop acting like emergencies are rare when life proves they are part of reality. And here is what you must start doing. Start saving first. Start saving automatically if you can. Start separating savings from spending money. Start giving every dollar a roll. Start building an emergency cushion. Start reviewing your savings weekly. Start protecting that money like it represents your future, because it does. That is the key. Give your savings a name in your mind. Not just money. Call it protection. Call it peace. Call it options. Call it dignity. Call it freedom. Because when you understand what savings represent, you become less willing to destroy them for impulse. That money is not there to make you feel rich for one weekend. It is there to keep you from being trapped. It is there to help you think clearly when pressure comes. It is there to protect your ability to choose. Preparation creates peace. This is why delayed gratification matters. When you save, you are telling the present version of yourself, you do not get to consume everything. You are telling the future version of yourself, I will not abandon you. You are telling life, I am not waiting helplessly for the next crisis. Choose freedom over comfort. Comfort says, spend it. You worked hard. Freedom says, protect some of it. You worked hard. Comfort says, you deserve a reward. Freedom says, you deserve stability. Comfort says, start saving later. Freedom says, later is built by what you do today. Comfort says, it is only a small amount. Freedom says, small amounts repeated become strength. You have a choice. And every payday reveals that choice. Payday is not just a celebration. Payday is a test. It tests your identity. It tests your priorities. It tests whether you are still lost or becoming controlled. It tests whether comfort gets the first vote or freedom gets the first vote. When the money comes in, do not ask only, what can I buy? Ask, what must I protect? Ask, what future problem can I soften? Ask, what option can I build? Ask, what kind of person am I proving myself to be? Every dollar is a decision. Every decision builds an identity. Save like someone who refuses to be trapped. Because that is what saving does. It reduces the power of fear. It reduces the power of bad options. It reduces the power of other people's control over your life. It gives you room to breathe, room to plan, room to walk away, room to rebuild, room to recover. The more you save, the less desperate you become. The less desperate you become, the better your decisions become. The better your decisions become, the more your confidence grows. That is money confidence. Not loud. Not flashy. Not built for applause. Built for control. The world may not clap when you save. Nobody may notice when you skip a purchase. Nobody may praise you for leaving money untouched. Nobody may celebrate the quiet transfer into your savings account. But your future will notice. Your peace will notice. Your options will notice. Your confidence will notice. Quiet discipline beats loud insecurity. You are building something stronger than appearance. You are building protection. You are building patience. You are building a self-image that says, I prepare. I protect. I do not abandon my future for temporary comfort. That is the identity of a financially independent person. Save first. Save steadily. Save like freedom matters. You have now learned that saving is not boring, and it is not extra. Saving is protection, dignity, and peace for the person who refuses to be trapped. But this is only the beginning. Because once you understand this, you must face the next truth. Chapter 8. Invest with patience, not panic. Invest with patience, not panic. That is the truth of this chapter. Investing is not supposed to be emotional entertainment. It is not supposed to be gambling with a better name. It is not supposed to be a desperate attempt to escape discipline. Investing must be approached with education, patience, emotional control, and a clear plan. If you bring panic into investing, panic will punish you. If you bring hype into investing, hype will use you. If you bring discipline into investing, time can begin to work for you. Patience builds. Panic destroys. Ownership compounds. That is the key. Too many people want investing to rescue them from habits they have not corrected. They do not want to budget. They do not want to save. They do not want to build skills. They do not want to control spending. They do not want to study. They want one big move. One hot tip. One quick win. One shortcut that makes discipline unnecessary. But investing is not a replacement for discipline. Investing is an extension of discipline. If you are reckless with spending, you will likely be reckless with investing. If you are emotional with purchases, you will likely be emotional with markets. If you panic when your bank balance changes, you may panic even harder when an investment moves against you. The same mind follows you. Your money follows your mind. A controlled mind creates controlled money. You have a choice. You can treat investing like a casino and call it opportunity, or you can treat investing like ownership and build with patience. You can chase excitement, or you can build a plan. You can react to fear, or you can learn before you move. You can rush because everyone else is shouting, or you can stay steady because your future deserves seriousness. Do not invest from fear. Do not invest from hype. Think about the person who hears about a trending investment. Everybody is talking about it. A coworker mentions it. A video makes it sound urgent. Social media turns it into a race. The person feels behind. They feel like everyone is winning except them. They do not understand the investment. They do not understand the risk. They do not understand the time horizon. They do not understand why the price is moving. But they understand one emotion very clearly: fear of missing out. So they rush in. Not because they studied. Not because it fits a plan. Not because their emergency savings are secure. Not because they have paid down dangerous debt. Not because they understand what they are buying. They rush in because they are afraid of being left behind. Then the price drops. Now fear changes shape. The excitement disappears. The confidence disappears. The same person who rushed in with greed now wants to escape with panic. They sell at a loss. They feel embarrassed. They feel angry. They say investing is dangerous. But the danger was not investing. The danger was ignorance, impatience, and emotion. Do not invest from fear. Do not invest from hype. Patience builds. Panic destroys. Ownership compounds. That sentence must become a standard. Investing is not about chasing quick emotional wins. It is about long-term ownership. Ownership of assets. Ownership of a plan. Ownership of your behavior. Ownership of your decisions. Ownership of the patience required to let time do what emotion cannot do. That does not mean investing is risk-free. It is not. That does not mean every investment is good. It is not. That does not mean you should put money into things you do not understand. You should not. This is not about blind optimism. This is about disciplined behavior. Learn first. Plan first. Stay steady. That is the order. Before you invest, stabilize. Before you chase returns, protect your foundation. Before you think about growth, build the ability to survive pressure without selling everything in fear. Investing begins after basic financial stability, emergency savings, basic education, and a clear plan. Build before you show. Build the emergency fund before chasing excitement. Build the habit of saving before increasing risk. Build basic knowledge before buying what strangers recommend. Build emotional control before entering environments that test emotion. Build the plan before the market tests your patience. That is the key. Many people lose money not because they were incapable of investing, but because they entered without preparation. They invested money they could not afford to risk. They used rent money. They used emergency money. They used borrowed money. They invested from desperation. And desperation makes bad decisions feel urgent. The disciplined person cannot be easily owned. The person with savings can wait. The person with a plan can think. The person with education can ask better questions. The person with emotional control does not panic at every headline. The person who is not desperate does not need every opportunity to work immediately. Preparation creates peace. And peace matters in investing. Because markets move. Prices rise. Prices fall. News changes. Opinions change. People shout. People exaggerate. People sell fear. People sell excitement. If you do not have a plan, every voice becomes your leader. If you do not have knowledge, every headline becomes your instruction. If you do not have patience, every drop becomes a threat and every rise becomes temptation. You cannot build freedom while being controlled by noise. Choose freedom over comfort. Comfort wants fast answers. Freedom requires education. Comfort wants excitement. Freedom requires consistency. Comfort wants to believe the shortcut. Freedom requires patient ownership. Comfort wants to avoid boring fundamentals. Freedom requires mastering them. Learn first. Plan first. Stay steady. Start by understanding what you are doing. Understand the difference between saving and investing. Savings protect the short term. Investing is for long-term growth and comes with risk. Savings give you stability. Investing requires time, patience, and tolerance for movement. Do not confuse the two. Money needed soon should not be treated like money meant to grow over years. That is basic discipline. Then understand what you are buying. Do not buy because someone sounded confident. Do not buy because the chart looked exciting. Do not buy because a stranger made a promise. Do not buy because you feel late. Ask what the asset is. Ask how it creates value. Ask what risks exist. Ask what time frame is realistic. Ask how it fits your larger plan. If you cannot explain it simply, slow down. You do not need their permission to slow down. You do not need to rush because others are rushing. You do not need to prove you are smart by making complicated moves. You do not need to gamble to feel ambitious. You do not need to chase every trend to build wealth. Do not just chase money. Become more valuable. Become more disciplined. Become more educated. Become more patient. That matters more than excitement. The investing world will tempt your ego. It will tempt you to look clever. It will tempt you to talk big. It will tempt you to believe you discovered the one move that solves everything. Be careful. Ego is expensive. Hype is expensive. Panic is expensive. Quiet discipline beats loud insecurity. A serious investor is not obsessed with looking brilliant today. A serious investor is focused on behaving wisely over time. They know that consistency matters. They know that risk matters. They know that diversification matters. They know that time matters. They know that no investment decision should be made just because emotions are loud. Patience builds. Panic destroys. Ownership compounds. This applies beyond financial markets. Investing is also how you treat your skill, your time, your mind, and your future. When you spend an hour learning, you are investing. When you build a professional skill, you are investing. When you improve your health so you can work with strength, you are investing. When you build relationships based on trust and value, you are investing. When you save and then allocate money with intention, you are investing. The principle is the same. The impatient person wants the result without the process. The disciplined person respects the process. The impatient person jumps around. The disciplined person stays consistent. The impatient person quits when emotion changes. The disciplined person continues because the plan is stronger than the mood. Control the habit, control the future. So here is what you must stop doing. Stop treating investing like a lottery ticket. Stop investing money you need for basic stability. Stop copying strangers without understanding the risk. Stop buying because you are afraid of missing out. Stop selling only because you are afraid. Stop thinking one move will replace daily discipline. Stop calling gambling ambition. And here is what you must start doing. Start learning the basics. Start building emergency savings. Start reducing financial chaos. Start creating a simple plan. Start understanding your time horizon. Start asking better questions. Start being honest about risk. Start moving slowly enough to think clearly. Learn first. Plan first. Stay steady. If you are not ready to invest money yet, invest time into education. That is not falling behind. That is preparation. If you need to build savings first, build savings. That is not weakness. That is stability. If you need to pay down harmful debt first, do it. That is not delay. That is strategy. It is not about speed. It is about sequence. It is not about excitement. It is about ownership. It is not about panic. It is about patience. That is the key. You have a choice. You can be the person who rushes in because everyone is shouting, or you can be the person who studies while everyone reacts. You can be the person who sells in panic, or you can be the person who follows a plan. You can be the person who confuses noise with opportunity, or you can be the person who builds quietly with discipline. Build before you show. Because investing with patience does not always look exciting. It may look boring. It may look slow. It may look unimpressive. It may look like reading, saving, planning, asking questions, staying consistent, and refusing to chase every shiny opportunity. But boring discipline often protects what exciting emotion destroys. The goal is not applause. The goal is control. You are not investing to impress people. You are investing to build long-term freedom. You are not investing to feel smart for 1 week. You are investing to own your future more deeply. You are not investing to escape responsibility. You are investing because you have accepted responsibility. That is money confidence. Money confidence does not panic. Money confidence does not worship hype. Money confidence does not move because the crowd moves. Money confidence learns, plans, waits, and acts with discipline. Money confidence understands that long-term independence is built through patience, ownership, and repeated decisions that protect the future. Patience builds. Panic destroys. Ownership compounds. Let that guide you. When fear rises, return to the plan. When hype rises, return to the facts. When greed rises, return to risk. When impatience rises, return to the time horizon. When confusion rises, return to education. When pressure rises, return to discipline. Learn first. Plan first. Stay steady. You have now learned that investing is not a shortcut around discipline, but an extension of discipline, and that patience builds while panic destroys. But this is only the beginning. Because once you understand this, you must face the next truth. Chapter 9. Stop letting comfort make your decisions. Stop letting comfort make your decisions. That is the truth you must face. Comfort is one of the most expensive addictions in life. It does not always look dangerous. It does not always feel destructive. Comfort often feels reasonable. It sounds calm. It sounds safe. It tells you to wait. It tells you to avoid pressure. It tells you to delay the hard conversation, skip the hard work, ignore the financial truth, and choose relief now instead of freedom later. But comfort today can become control tomorrow. That is the key. Comfort tells you not to check the account because the truth might make you anxious. Comfort tells you not to apply for the better job because rejection might hurt. Comfort tells you not to learn the new skill because you are tired. Comfort tells you not to cook because delivery is easier. Comfort tells you not to save because the amount feels small. Comfort tells you not to budget because budgeting makes you feel restricted. And every time comfort wins, your future pays. Comfort today can become control tomorrow. You have a choice. You can choose the easy thing that keeps you dependent, or you can choose the hard thing that makes you free. You can protect your feelings today and weaken your future tomorrow, or you can accept discomfort today and build strength that will serve you for years. Choose freedom over comfort. This is not about suffering for no reason. This is not about making life miserable. This is not about refusing rest, joy, or peace. Real rest is useful. Real peace is healthy. Real recovery matters. But comfort becomes dangerous when it starts making decisions that discipline should be making. That is when comfort becomes a cage. Comfort is not always safety. Sometimes comfort is a cage. Think about the person who stays in the same low-growth job for years. They know the job is not helping them grow. They know the income is limited. They know costs are rising. They know they need stronger skills. They know they should update their resume, study, ask for training, apply elsewhere, or build a path toward better income. They know it. But learning feels uncomfortable. Starting over feels uncomfortable. Being a beginner again feels uncomfortable. Rejection feels uncomfortable. Interviews feel uncomfortable. Asking for more responsibility feels uncomfortable. So they stay where they are. Not because the job is stable enough to build freedom. Not because they made a serious strategy. They stay because the familiar feels safer than the necessary. At first, comfort protects their feelings. But over time, prices rise. Rent rises. Bills rise. Pressure rises. The job does not rise with them. Their skills do not rise. Their confidence does not rise. Their options shrink. Now the same comfort that once felt safe has become a trap. Comfort protected their feelings but weakened their future. Comfort is not always safety. Sometimes comfort is a cage. That is the warning. Financial independence requires you to stop asking, "What feels easiest right now?" and start asking, "What choice gives me more freedom later?" That question changes everything. When you are tired and need to learn, ask it. When you are tempted to spend, ask it. When you feel embarrassed to budget, ask it. When you are afraid to face debt, ask it. When you want to avoid a hard conversation about money, work, or responsibility, ask it. What choice gives me more freedom later? That is the key. Because comfort is often short-sighted. Comfort cares about the next hour. Discipline cares about the next year. Comfort cares about your mood. Discipline cares about your future. Comfort asks how to escape pressure. Discipline asks how to build strength. Comfort wants relief. Freedom requires responsibility. Choose the hard thing that makes you free. That does not mean choose difficulty for ego. It means choose useful discomfort. The discomfort of learning. The discomfort of saving. The discomfort of budgeting. The discomfort of saying no. The discomfort of waking up earlier. The discomfort of facing numbers. The discomfort of asking better questions. The discomfort of admitting you need to change. Useful discomfort builds power. Avoided discomfort builds pressure. Control the habit, control the future. If you always choose comfort around money, money will control you. If you always choose comfort around work, work will limit you. If you always choose comfort around habits, habits will own you. If you always choose comfort around truth, lies will grow in the dark. What you refuse to face, you cannot control. So stop delaying. Stop delaying the review of your spending. Stop delaying the cancellation of the subscription. Stop delaying the savings transfer. Stop delaying the application. Stop delaying the skill. Stop delaying the uncomfortable conversation. Stop delaying the decision that would make your life stronger. Delay has a cost. Every week you delay learning, you stay less valuable. Every month you delay saving, you stay more exposed. Every year you delay financial honesty, the pattern becomes more expensive. Every time you delay discipline, comfort gets stronger and your confidence gets weaker. Comfort today can become control tomorrow. You have a choice. You do not need their permission to grow. You do not need permission to stop wasting time. You do not need permission to change your routine. You do not need permission to study after work instead of scrolling. You do not need permission to say no to spending that does not fit your plan. You do not need permission to outgrow old habits. Growth will make some people uncomfortable because your discipline reminds them of their excuses. That is not your problem. Build before you show. Build the skill before you demand the reward. Build the savings before you chase the upgrade. Build the confidence before you chase the image. Build the habit before you expect the outcome. Build the future before you decorate the present. Comfort wants the appearance now. Discipline builds the substance first. That is how you become financially independent. Not by waiting until everything feels easy. Not by waiting until you feel confident. Not by waiting until you have more time, more energy, more support, more motivation, or more certainty. You become independent by taking serious action while discomfort is still present. Courage is not waiting until fear disappears. Courage is acting while fear is still there. Discipline is not waiting until temptation disappears. Discipline is choosing the plan while temptation is still talking. Money confidence is not waiting until life is perfect. Money confidence is facing reality while life is still messy. Choose the hard thing that makes you free. When you feel tired after work, the hard thing may be spending 30 minutes learning a skill that increases your value. When you feel tempted to buy something unnecessary, the hard thing may be closing the app and saving the money. When you feel ashamed about debt, the hard thing may be writing down the exact number and making a plan. When your friends invite you to spend beyond your budget, the hard thing may be saying no without apology. Every one of those decisions is a vote. A vote for freedom. A vote for maturity. A vote for control. A vote for the person you are becoming. Every dollar is a decision. Every decision builds an identity. The old identity chooses comfort first. The new identity chooses freedom first. The old identity waits for life to become easier. The new identity becomes stronger. The old identity avoids pressure. The new identity uses pressure as information. The old identity says, I will start later. The new identity says, I will act now. That is transformation. It is not about motivation. It is about standards. It is not about feeling ready. It is about moving anyway. It is not about comfort. It is about freedom. That is the key. And do not confuse discomfort with danger. Many things that feel uncomfortable are not dangerous. Checking your bank account is not dangerous. Applying for a better job is not dangerous. Learning a new skill is not dangerous. Cooking at home is not dangerous. Saying no to an invitation is not dangerous. Being a beginner is not dangerous. But staying dependent is dangerous. Ignoring reality is dangerous. Living without savings is dangerous. Keeping weak habits is dangerous. Letting comfort decide your future is dangerous. Selling your long-term freedom for short-term relief is dangerous. Comfort is not always safety. Sometimes comfort is a cage. Break the cage. Not with one dramatic speech. Not with one emotional promise. Break it with daily decisions. Break it by doing what you said you would do. Break it by saving when tempted. Break it by learning when tired. Break it by budgeting when embarrassed. Break it by acting when afraid. Choose the hard thing that makes you free. Start small if you must, but start seriously. 10 minutes of review. 20 minutes of learning. 1 cancelled expense. 1 prepared meal. 1 honest conversation. 1 application. 1 saved amount. 1 decision that proves comfort is no longer in charge. Small disciplined actions create large changes because they change the person making the decisions. That is the real goal. Not just to have more money. To become more controlled. Not just to escape stress. To become more steady. Not just to improve your budget. To improve your identity. Not just to chase independence. To become the kind of person who can handle independence. The disciplined person cannot be easily owned. Because comfort no longer leads them. Fear no longer freezes them. Shame no longer hides them. Pressure no longer controls them. They may feel discomfort, but they do not obey it blindly. They may feel temptation, but they do not surrender their future to it. That is strength. That is money confidence. That is freedom being built before anyone sees it. So stop letting comfort make your decisions. Comfort can visit, but it cannot lead. Comfort can rest with you after discipline has done its work, but it cannot take the wheel. Comfort can support recovery, but it cannot become the excuse that keeps you weak. You are not here to be comfortable and controlled. You are here to be disciplined and free. Choose freedom over comfort. Choose growth over ease. Choose truth over avoidance. Choose preparation over panic. Choose the hard thing that makes you free. You have now learned that comfort is not always safety, and that comfort today can become control tomorrow when you allow it to make your decisions. But this is only the beginning. Because once you understand this, you must face the final truth. Chapter 10. Become the person money cannot control. Become the person money cannot control. That is the final truth. Money confidence is not arrogance. It is not luxury. It is not pretending you have everything figured out. It is not walking louder, spending bigger, or proving yourself to people who are not responsible for your future. Real money confidence is calm strength. It is the quiet power of a person who can make clear decisions, control impulses, protect income, save consistently, invest patiently, and build without needing applause. Money does not control me. Emotion does not control me. Pressure does not control me. That is the identity. That is the key. You have been trained by the world to react. React to bills. React to pressure. React to trends. React to what other people buy. React to what other people think. React to fear. React to boredom. React to stress. React to the feeling that you are behind. But financially independent people do not live by reaction. They live by standards. Standards create stability. Stability creates freedom. A standard is a rule you live by before emotion starts talking. A standard says, I save first. A standard says, I do not spend to impress. A standard says, I check the numbers. A standard says, I protect my income. A standard says, I learn before I invest. A standard says, I build before I show. A standard says, I choose freedom over comfort. Without standards, every mood becomes a decision maker. Every invitation becomes a threat to your budget. Every sale becomes a negotiation. Every paycheck becomes a chance to repeat the same old pattern. Every emergency becomes a crisis because preparation was never made a standard. You have a choice. You can keep living by impulse, or you can live by standards. You can keep needing motivation, or you can build systems. You can keep waiting to feel ready, or you can become the kind of person who acts because the future matters. Money does not control me. Emotion does not control me. Pressure does not control me. Say that through your behavior, not just your words. Because money confidence is proven in ordinary moments. It is proven when a bill arrives and you do not panic because you have a plan. It is proven when friends want you to spend beyond your budget and you say no without shame. It is proven when a trend appears and you do not chase it blindly. It is proven when your paycheck lands and you save before comfort gets access. It is proven when your emotions are loud, but your discipline is louder. That is control. Look at someone with money confidence. They are not perfect. They still face pressure. They still have bills. They still experience uncertainty. They still have desires. But they do not let every desire become a decision. They do not spend to impress friends. They do not panic when life gets expensive. They do not chase every investment trend. They do not depend on luck to rescue them from weak habits. They have systems. They have standards. They have direction. They know what comes first. They know what matters. They know what they are building. They may not be rich yet, but they are not lost. They may not have everything they want yet, but they are controlled. They may still be growing, but they are growing with command. Standards create stability. Stability creates freedom. That is the transformation this audiobook has been building. You started with identity. You learned to stop spending like you are lost. You learned that every dollar is a decision, and every decision builds an identity. You learned that you cannot spend your way into confidence. Then you learned to build wealth before you look wealthy. You learned that the goal is not applause. The goal is control. You learned to build before you show, and own before you impress. Then you learned that your money follows your mind. You learned that what you refuse to face, you cannot control. You learned to look at the numbers, face the truth, and take control. Then you learned that discipline is the price of freedom. You learned that every yes has a cost, and every no has a reward. You learned that the disciplined person cannot be easily owned. Then you learned to protect your income like your future depends on it. You learned that income is the engine of independence. You learned to protect the income, strengthen the skill, and build the future. Then you learned to kill the habits that keep you dependent. You learned that small habits become large consequences. You learned to cut the leak, control the pattern, and reclaim the future. Then you learned to save like someone who refuses to be trapped. You learned that savings are not extra. Savings are protection. You learned that preparation creates peace. Then you learned to invest with patience, not panic. You learned that patience builds, panic destroys, and ownership compounds. You learned to learn first, plan first, and stay steady. Then you learned to stop letting comfort make your decisions. You learned that comfort today can become control tomorrow. You learned to choose the hard thing that makes you free. Now all of it comes together. You are not just trying to have more money. You are becoming the kind of person who can keep money, grow money, direct money, and remain steady under pressure. That is different. Many people want more money while keeping the same weak identity. They want more income without better habits. They want more freedom without more discipline. They want better results without better standards. They want peace without preparation. They want confidence without control. But you cannot become financially independent while remaining emotionally dependent. It is not about greed. It is about self-command. It is not about looking powerful. It is about becoming steady. It is not about having no problems. It is about having standards strong enough to face problems without collapsing. That is the key. Control the habit, control the future. A person money cannot control does not worship money. They respect it. They direct it. They use it as a tool. They do not let money become their master, and they do not let the lack of money destroy their mind. They do not panic, perform, pretend, or chase. They build. Build before you show. Build the emergency fund. Build the skill. Build the plan. Build the budget. Build the habit of saving. Build the patience to invest wisely. Build the courage to say no. Build the self-respect to stop buying approval. Build the discipline to stay steady when life gets loud. Become controlled. Become steady. Become free. This is not temporary motivation. Temporary motivation fades. It sounds good for a moment and disappears when life gets uncomfortable. This is permanent self-command. This is a standard you carry into every paycheck, every purchase, every opportunity, every setback, every decision. When income increases, self-command says, "Do not lose discipline." When pressure rises, self-command says, "Do not panic." When friends spend loudly, self-command says, "Do not perform." When comfort calls, self-command says, "Choose freedom." When fear appears, self-command says, "Face the truth." Money does not control me. Emotion does not control me. Pressure does not control me. That is how you must move. Not as someone waiting to be saved. Not as someone begging for luck. Not as someone hoping the next paycheck fixes the same pattern. Not as someone who needs the world to become easier before they become stronger. Move like someone responsible for their future. You do not need their permission. You do not need permission to save. You do not need permission to grow. You do not need permission to say no. You do not need permission to live below your income. You do not need permission to build quietly. You do not need permission to become disciplined while others stay distracted. Their approval is not your freedom. Their applause is not your stability. Their opinion is not your financial plan. Standards create stability. Stability creates freedom. So set the standards now. Decide that you will not spend to impress. Decide that you will not avoid your numbers. Decide that you will not treat payday like escape. Decide that you will not let comfort rule your future. Decide that you will not chase every trend. Decide that you will not let fear make your financial decisions. Decide that you will become more valuable, more aware, more disciplined, and more patient. Then prove it. Today. Not someday. Today. Cancel the wasteful expense. Open the bank account. Review the debt. Save the amount. Cook the meal. Apply for the role. Practice the skill. Read the material. Say no to the purchase. Write the plan. Make one serious move that proves the old identity is losing power. Because confidence is built by proof. Every disciplined action is proof. Every repeated standard is proof. Every controlled decision is proof. Every moment you choose freedom over comfort is proof. Become controlled. Become steady. Become free. The world can pressure a person who has no standards. The world can sell to a person who has no plan. The world can scare a person who has no savings. The world can manipulate a person who has no discipline. But the person who has standards, systems, savings, skills, patience, and self-command becomes difficult to control. That is who you are becoming. Someone who does not panic because pressure appears. Someone who does not perform because people are watching. Someone who does not fold because comfort is tempting. Someone who does not chase because hype is loud. Someone who does not hide because the truth is uncomfortable. Someone who can face money clearly, direct it wisely, and build with patience. That is money confidence. Money does not control me. Emotion does not control me. Pressure does not control me. You have now learned the final truth. Money confidence is the calm strength of a disciplined identity, and the mission is not temporary motivation but permanent self-command. You have learned to control your money, control your habits, control your time, build before you show, choose freedom over comfort, and become the kind of person who cannot be financially controlled. Now the next chapter is not another lesson. The next chapter is your life. Take one action today that proves you are serious. Control your money. Control your habits. Control your time. That is where financial independence begins. Not in luck. Not in shortcuts. Not in pretending to be successful before you have built anything real. Your money will follow your identity. Your future will follow your discipline. Your freedom will follow your decisions. Build before you show. Save before you spend. Learn before you invest. Strengthen your income before you complain about your options. Choose freedom over comfort, because comfort that destroys your future is not comfort. It is a trap. Every dollar you control makes you stronger. Every impulse you defeat makes you freer. Every skill you build makes you harder to replace. Every disciplined choice moves you closer to becoming the kind of person who cannot be financially controlled. So do not finish this audiobook and return to the same pattern. Take one action today. Cancel one wasteful expense. Save one amount. Review one account. Learn one skill. Make one decision that proves you are serious. Start now. Freedom does not wait for the perfect moment. Freedom begins when you take control.